This is a weekly summary of interesting news that is relevant for my distributed systems lecture at the Eastern University of Applied Sciences in Switzerland. My name is Thomas Bocek, and today we will discuss 6 topics. The first topic is about containers. It's the following article here. A new Linux container runtime called Styrolite was released as open source. It was developed to bridge cloud computing and virtualization-based security. Unlike other container tools that use command line interfaces, Styrolite offers a programmatic interface that makes container management more precise and less error-prone, as shown here in this example. This is an example in Rust. Styrolite works with Linux namespaces, which allow for different views of system resources. These include mount namespaces for root file systems, PID namespaces for process isolation, and user namespaces for security, and several others. The author claims that this tool simplifies container creation through a clean programming interface, as shown here in Rust, making it more maintainable than complex command lines or shell scripts. Styrolite is used for secure microservices, application sandboxing, and custom development environment. It offers fast container startup times while focusing on security controls. And for our lecture, this shows how container technology continues to improve. The next article is about cloud repatriation. It's this article here, it's in German, and it's about many companies that are changing their cloud strategy and moving some workloads back to on-premise infrastructure. The shift comes after years of cloud adoption that promises cost savings and flexibility. However, studies show that 92% of companies experienced higher cloud costs than planned, with budgets exceeded by an average of 47%. The rising costs are linked to AI usage, with 92% of businesses believing future AI-related cloud costs will become unmanageable. Hidden costs like support fees and unused resources add to these expenses. For example, one software company saved nearly $2 million by moving back to their own data center. Integration challenges are another reason for the shift. Managing complex cloud environments requires specialized skills that many companies lack. This leads to inefficient use and higher operational costs. Multi-cloud strategies adopted to prevent outages further increase administration work. Security is also a major concern, with 52% of companies reporting data loss because they relied on their provider security solutions without maintaining their own backups. Companies are now adopting hybrid approaches, keeping critical or sensitive workloads on-premise while leaving others in the cloud. This balances control, cost, and flexibility. The trend is supported by cost analysis showing that on-premise solutions can be more cost-effective for certain high-usage workloads. For our distributed systems lecture, this trend highlights the importance of understanding the real cost and technical requirements of different infrastructure options, as well as the need for proper planning when designing a distributed application. And in one specific case where we needed to have a full node, a SUI full node, we compared the cloud costs to on-prem costs, and the on-prem costs were significantly cheaper than the cloud costs. So we decided to host this full node on-prem. The third topic is about the cloud. Again, it's the following article here. Cloud veterans launch ConfigHub to fix configuration hell. It's a new startup called ConfigHub and has launched with $4 million in funding to address what they call configuration hell in cloud systems. The company aims to modernize how software configuration data is managed, which is particularly important for distributed systems. Configuration files have become increasingly complex in modern cloud environments. While software development used to involve just a few simple text files, today systems require massive configuration files with thousands of lines of code to run properly in large-scale environments. The problem is that configuration data is gathered across many different locations, making it difficult to manage. This has led to serious incidents in the past. Last year, a faulty configuration update to security software caused widespread disruption and more than $5 billion in losses for major companies. In another case, a cloud misconfiguration led to deletion of a private cloud, leaving 500,000 users without access to their accounts. ConfigHub solution is to unify configuration management in a single database with a live view of what the system is actually doing. This makes configuration easier to find and modify. The product will focus on Kubernetes DevOps tooling and will be offered as a cloud service. Well, for our distributed systems lecture, this highlights how critical proper configuration management is when building complex systems with many interdependent components. As systems grow more complex, also with AI integration, managing configurations becomes even more important to prevent costly failures. Though, let's be honest, combating complexity by adding yet another layer of abstraction is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. Sometimes you just end up with a bigger, more impressive fire. The fourth article is about supply chain attacks. It's the following article here. Researchers have discovered sophisticated malware on the NPM package repository that uses a new technique to infect locally installed packages. This represents an evolution in software supply chain attacks affecting distributed systems. The malicious packages named EthersProvider2 and EthersProviders work as downloaders for hidden payloads. What makes them unusual is their approach. Instead of just installing malware directly, they patch legitimate packages that are already installed locally on a developer system. Specifically, they target the popular Ethers package, replacing one of its files with a malicious version that looks and functions the same but contains hidden code. This malicious code creates a reverse shell, giving attackers remote access to the compromised system. The attack is particularly dangerous because even if the original malicious package is removed, the infection remains hidden in the legitimate package. This provides persistence for the attackers. And the researchers note that while there was a drop in malware on open source repositories in 2024, this campaign shows that threat actors are still actively targeting developers with increasingly sophisticated techniques. Instead of hijacking popular packages, which is difficult, attackers now focus on infecting legitimate packages after they're installed locally. And my point here is that running code should be done in containers, not only in production, but also during development, providing isolation that can help prevent these types of supply chain attacks from compromising your entire system. The fifth article, it's the following article here, is about cross-platform peer-to-peer Wi-Fi. An important development in peer-to-peer networking is happening with Apple being required to implement the Wi-Fi aware standard in iOS 19. This marks a shift away from Apple's proprietary Apple Wireless Direct Link protocol towards an industry standard that works across all platforms, also on Android. And the EU's Digital Markets Act mandates that Apple must support Wi-Fi Aware 4.0 in the next iOS release and then version 5.0 thereafter. This is important for distributed systems because it will enable true cross-platform peer-to-peer connectivity between iOS and Android devices for the first time. Wi-Fi aware, also known as neighbor awareness networking, allows devices to discover each other and communicate directly with Wi-Fi speeds without needing a router or access point. It's similar to Bluetooth discovery, but with Wi-Fi's higher bandwidth and range. Technology supports continuous power-efficient discovery with high throughput data transmission, low latency, and built-in security features. For comparison, Wi-Fi aware can achieve over 100 megabit per second real-world throughput at ranges of 50 to 100 meters, where Bluetooth LE only delivers around 0.2 to 0.5 megabytes per second. This makes Wi-Fi aware ideal for applications requiring high bandwidth local communication like file sharing, multiplayer gaming, or IoT device control. This standardization will end the divide where developers need to separate implementations for different platforms. Apps will be able to use one technology for nearby networking regardless of the device operating system, reducing development complexity and enabling new possibilities for edge computing and mesh networking. And here in this article, they even showed here code examples of how developers can implement Wi-Fi aware in Android applications, here in the example using Kotlin. And this looks really promising. Having Apple interoperability with the rest of the industry is awesome for building truly universal distributed applications with direct connectivity. The last article is about stablecoins. It's the following article here, and this is about a new stablecoin called World Liberty Financial USD, in short USD1, that has been launched on two major blockchain platforms, on the BNB chain and Ethereum. The stablecoin is backed by US President Donald Trump and is pegged to the US dollar and has a total supply of a bit more than 3.5 million US dollars, though it's currently not tradable. This launch comes at a time when lawmakers are considering new legislations for stablecoins. The Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for US Stablecoins Act, known as the Genius Act, recently moved out of the Senate Banking Committee and is expected to be voted on soon. The executive director of the President's Council of Advisors on Digital Assets expects the bill could be signed into law by June. The stablecoin market continues to show strong growth. Data indicates that the number of active stablecoin wallets increased by more than 50% from February 2024 to February 2025. The total market capitalization of stablecoins surpassed 200 billion US dollars in January, with Tether and USDC remaining the most popular options. The project's website notes that President Trump and some of his family members control 60% of the company's equity interest. And since its launch in September 2024, the company has completed two public token sales, raising a combined 550 million US dollars. And this also raises the issue of conflict of interest as President Trump influences the regulations. That's it for this week. See you next week.